Most of the people in the space that perform at the highest level have lost more than anybody else. They've probably been told no more than anyone else. They've probably felt and seen more rejection, but yet they're the same people most people look to and say, you don't know what it feels like. When in reality, it's the total opposite. So we've got a few reps in the room. I'm guessing we got a lot of other leaders. If you're a leader in the room, in the door-to-door space, raise your hand. And most of you probably still have some form of sales rep role that you're still fulfilling. Maybe you're not. Maybe you've got, such a large organization, you've stepped out of that a little bit. But let's talk about a few of these things, because if you're not a rep anymore, you're still helping reps. And you may want to remind yourself of some of the losses they're going through. First thing I'll say is when I say everybody in this room is going to lose, you lose before you even become a rep. The day you think about doing door-to-door, you already lost. You already lost your ego, and you probably already lost the support of people around you when you tell them you're about to do door-to-door. You're about to be told it's never going to work. You're about to be told you're crazy, and you're going to hear all the reasons that's probably not smart to do in the first place. Anybody had any haters in the room or doubters when you told them you're going to do door-to-door? I'm guessing most people have experienced that. These may not feel as big of a loss to those in the room who have been doing this now for 15 or 20 years, but to a rookie, just the daily rejection, there's a reason this is the highest turnover job of almost any job anybody could ever do, and it is because people cannot handle that loss. They cannot handle the loss of somebody telling them no, the daily rejection. They can't not take it personal, and it may be at a totally different level because it's with strangers, but if you can't master that piece, you're never going to make it to the next level in the first place. So for the reps in the room, that's an inevitable loss you're going to deal with, is constant rejection and loss of, validation from some random person that maybe you're not used to dealing with. For the popular kids in high school that were really social and high-level communicators that everybody thought was going to be this amazing recruit, you come to realize half those recruits shit the bed because they've never dealt with rejection. They've been accepted their whole life. So for those in the room who had to figure that out, that maybe you were good communicators, maybe you did have a good social life, anybody in the room that had a great social life, never really dealt with a lot of rejection in the past? There's usually quite a few people in the room that had to figure that out. Loss of motivation in general, canceled appointments that reps have to deal with. They're constantly losing in that end. That can be a big deal depending on what industry you're in. Solar on a higher ticket price, you lose 10 grand in one job, that is a financial loss most people have not experienced until they get into a space like that. Any other losses as a rep anybody would throw out that maybe is not up there? Anything we missed? I would say those are some of the primary losses, and the biggest thing I would point out, I was scrolling social media the other day and it came up. I wish I could have found the thread. I tried to go back through. But there was a list of losses from some of the greatest athletes in the world, and it showed, some of you guys might have seen this, it's trending right now, I think. It's popped up a few times. But it shows who holds the records for most missed losses. I think Tom Brady's lost more games than anybody else. I think Michael Jordan holds the missed shot record. Those are the individuals that have figured out how to lose. They've become such better losers than everybody else that it just doesn't affect them when they lose. They actually flip it. And the loss is what the motivation, that's the whole point. The more losses they get, the more pissed off they use it for motivation. It's like if you've watched Jordan's story or read his book, he would create losses or get people pissed off or find reasons to feel like something was a loss just to fire him up. All right, let's look what happens as you start moving up, because for those reps in the room, there wasn't as many hands, there was more leaders. For the reps in the room, it starts to feel emotional when you first get into this job as you overcome those first losses. And so what people start to think is, I can't wait to get to the next level when I'm off the doors. When I can transition away from the doors, this won't be so hard anymore. When I can step back from this constant daily rejection that I'm starting to feel burned out on, and when I can start to lead people, then I'll be in a place where I'll be able to thrive more. I can't wait to get into management. And anybody that's in this room that has graduated into management at every level knows that it just gets worse. Because the losses you're going to take now, the daily rejection you get now as a manager, the problems you deal with, the things that people bring to you, that's from your peers, it's not from strangers. So the emotion level is 10 times as high from somebody you care about when something doesn't go right. Now it's on your shoulders for somebody you care about. You can't brush it off, walk to the next door and forget about it. It becomes a totally different level of maturity in that loss. You step up to the RM level, and that's the next piece a manager starts to think. I can't wait to become a regional, because then I don't have to deal with all the problems of the reps. I'll just talk to a few managers, and there'll be a higher level of maturity, so it won't be as big of a deal. But what they fail to realize is, now you don't lose a rep. You don't lay awake at night losing sleep over a rep that might walk out the door. You lay awake at night losing sleep about who walking out the door. An entire team. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody who was a great sales rep turn into a great manager, and they start to approach this regional game, and all of a sudden they lose an entire manager, the whole team follows them, and overnight they've lost 20 guys, and the emotional wreck that they become, the betrayal they feel, just shuts them down. They go into a dark hole of depression. Everybody's left them. Everybody's betrayed them. So now they have fear of loss.